Black screen. Oh dear. Give me a second. Oh dear. Give me a second, Mo, whilst I sort this black screen out. This is embarrassing, isn't it? You might be able to see the code at least. Woohoo! Let me sort the camera out. Give me a sec. Oh dear. Everything's gone wrong. Nope, it's not finding the camera. Brilliant. Let's try it on this one. Okay. Okay, cool. Hello, coders. Hope everybody's well. So today I have created... I've been working on some Symfony changes for the back end. I'm going to just put that connection back on there. Because there's been a lot of change. There's been a lot of change recently. A lot of breaking changes recently on the back end. And yeah, where do I start with this? I guess what I can do is show you the beta. So this is the beta site, right? So I put this live a couple of days ago, I think. So it's in private beta, and this private beta allows you to, or allows the beta testers at least, to log in or register. And when they do that, they'll be able to view the courses. So for instance, let's do this. So if we go over to the courses, click on the course, click on this one, then do start learning. Let's put in some random credentials. What's the date today? The date is the 4th. See, I did this yesterday. So 4th of the 10th of the 20th, we'll do 01, that's great. And then what I usually do for the testing stuff is I keep, whoops, let me copy that. I keep that to testing, and then .hel to codewell.net, and then I use that as the password as well. So just on the test server, of course. Hit register, and that should go off and do its thing, hopefully. So then we click never, that's fine, and then we're in here. Now this thing cannot happen on production at the moment. If we go over to production, so we go to howtocodewell.net, we can see that yes, there's the courses, but when you click on the course, it will take you to the playlist on YouTube. So this change is putting a layer in between where one has to register and create an account. The idea, of course, is that eventually I'm going to have premium courses on here that will, that you have to be subscribed to watch and to get, and also get the code and all that jazz. I'm fine, thank you, Mr. DB303. Yeah, I'm fine. I had a bit of a problem with the camera earlier. It just didn't work. That's the second time that's happened. So I'm gonna have to have a look at the connection. Maybe it just needs a little bit of a. So I'm using the really, really poor iMac webcam. Yay. Okay. Which also means I have to tilt the iMac up a bit, so I am staring above. So this here is the dashboard, the admin area, I suppose, for a user. I hope you're well, Mr. DB303. I hope you're doing good and having a good weekend. I can't believe it's Sunday already. Tea. Yeah, and the idea here is that one can click on things like the profile and the security and the courses and so forth. So if I was to do this now, so go to profile, you get the coming soon. These are features that we put in I think a few weeks ago, and we turned them off. I should say we turned these off a few weeks ago. So we've got the profile. We've also got security, which I've turned off. So this will allow you to change your password eventually when I do it, and then this will eventually have all the lists of the courses. So if I click to see all courses here, this will take you back to the courses page as we've seen before, but of course we're logged in. So if I clicked on one of these again, like this one, and then clicked on here, no longer will it take me to that pricing section and ask me to register or log in. I am now logged in, right? So I can actually see the course. I can click on these things. Oops, that failed. Why did that fail? Problem continued. 401. Well, there's an issue. So yeah, eventually you'll be able, it works locally, let's just say that. When you click on these things, you'll be able to see the actual tutorials. And then down here there's a part to get the code when I've implemented that area, and to watch ad-free, not through YouTube, through another provider. And that will happen when we get the premium user ability in, which won't happen for some time. And unfortunately, it's not going to happen for a little bit longer. And I'll explain all of that in just a second. So, yeah, I'm a bit... Why did that... Let's try another one. Maybe this is... Yeah, why is that 401? What's all that for? Let's log out. Log in. Go to courses. Click on one of these. That's strange. It's a good job that could it be that the basic authentication isn't through? And I've got this, by the way, done. This is the scrollable thingy, and this also changes the height. It follows the height of the video, which took me forever to work out. I reckon that was because of the basic auth. Let's just quickly go back to that course. It was... which one was it? MySQL and PHP, I think. So let's click on this one. Yeah, it's in. Okay. But anyway. So this is in beta, and I know that people are tearing it apart at the moment, the beta testers, which is great. And they found some issues already, which is perfect. This is excellent. What I want to do. But the thing is, about a day before I put this live, I was up extremely late, as you do, reading documentation for the FOSS user bundle, which is the bundle that I use in Symfony for user management. And unfortunately, I discovered it's not deprecated, it's not maintained anymore. So if I was to look at this, for instance, so FOSS user bundle, right? Unfortunately, I mean, I just didn't see it. I just didn't see it. If I looked at on here, the actual README, it says that, for Symfony 2 Plus, it provides a flexible framework, yada yada yada. There's nothing in here to say that it was it's not compatible with Symfony 5. If I was to click on the documentation for master, however, it still says 2.8 and 1.3. What's the one I clicked on before? And it took me... Oh, there was a button I clicked, or a link I clicked, and it took me to a dead link. Anyway, there's nothing in this documentation that suggests that it's not being maintained. And so I foolishly, and this is all me, I've been using this for ages. Like, I've been using this in Symfony 1 all the way up. But notice that nobody's been doing any commits or merges to this for a while. So I was reading on something completely insignificant about this, because I had a little issue that I wanted to fix and solve. And then I just clicked on my phone on issues, and I noticed If I scroll down here a little bit, somewhere there is Symfony 5 5.0. So I clicked on this, and it read something like, do you plan to support Symfony 5? Most likely no longer maintained. And here I was thinking, what do you mean? Because I just assumed that it would be always maintained, which was a very foolish assumption of me, completely foolish. So I clicked on here, and I discovered that it was no longer maintained, and this is actually an open PR to put the no longer maintained message on the actual documentation. And there was a couple of things in here, people were suggesting things like, maybe we can do this, maybe we can do that, and all of this stuff. But anyway, the fact that I did this, the fact that I discovered this a day before I pushed the beta to beta, and having the ability to log in and log out, which is what the FOSS user is all about, it kind of made me think, it got me a little bit worried. And also, I then started to think, well, maybe this is the reason why I haven't moved to Symfony 5, because I know that there's some deprecations. There's one at least with the FOSS oAuth, the FOSS oAuth bundle, the server bundle. But the fact that this can't be moved up got me thinking. So I spent all of yesterday taking it apart. There's this branch here, features, remove FOSS user. So what I've done is I've removed FOSS user from the Symfony backend of the project. And in doing so, obviously, I've broken a lot of tests. But it's allowed me to do this. If I scroll down, notice all of the Symfony now has just been upgraded to Symfony 5.1 star. Right, and if I scroll down a little bit, sort packages, there is something down here to say, somewhere, there we go, 5.1. We are now running 5.1 in Symfony. So I spent all of yesterday upgrading everything after I removed FOSS, the FOSS user bundle, because I was thinking, well, surely if I removed this, the bundle, and I got into Symfony 5, I can then use the Symfony 5 security mechanisms that wasn't available to me in Symfony 4. So that's what I want to play with today. And when I say I've broken a lot of tests, I've broken a lot of tests. We've got like there's about 30 tests that have failed because of this. And it also allowed me to upgrade the other packages too, so it's a big change. Now this means, unfortunately, that we've got in production, in production, we have this, which we don't yet have the whole login and log out type mechanism, right? It just goes to this MailChimp newsletter jobby. But it means so production's okay, right? Because it's using the known stable stuff. Beta, on the other hand, it's pushed to beta using a major version less than what's in development, which means that I've got to do this pretty quickly. Because what I'll be doing is rolling this up into another beta launch, hopefully as soon as it's done, really, and hopefully the users, the beta testers, won't actually see a difference. They'll just log in and log out, but it's the mechanism behind which will be altered and changed. Yeah, but I am struggling to work out how to do this, so I thought I'll do it live, because so what I've done is I did some work on it this morning as well, and I was just dreaming about it last night. So I'm pretty tired, to be fair. I got to try and remember where we are, because I was working on the laptop yesterday and this morning. Have I pushed everything across? I think I might have done, but I think I need to do make DB migrate, I believe. And actually, have I got the containers running? Yes, I do. So make, because I've removed the FOSS user bundle, I've had to change some of the entities. I'm sure it's DB migrate. Yeah, I do. I use a lot of functionality from FOSS. So basically, I'm kind of using this like a guinea pig, I guess. Yeah, I mean, the last time I used functionality in FOSS from a client's perspective, from working on a client's project, was about 3-4 years ago, and I'm not working on that project anymore. So I'm hoping that has been upgraded. But I didn't realize this was coming. And that's the thing that's really annoying me. It's the fact that I didn't make myself aware. I didn't look through the issues. I wasn't aware of this. And this means that now my roadmap has changed completely, because I didn't expect to rewrite this whole piece of code. And unfortunately, I'm also using the FOSS oAuth server bundle, which integrates quite nicely with the FOSS oAuth user. That's why I love them. So now I need to look for another implementation of oAuth, which perhaps could use the FOSS oAuth server bundle, but I need a client, because that's now being removed. Anywho, so that's now been migrated, so I've changed a couple of things here. That's what I was working on yesterday. So I should be able to do make tests, and we should just laugh at this, because, not make tests. So there was about something in the region of 60 PHP stan errors that I fixed yesterday. It was absolutely bonkers. It really was. It's remarkable. I didn't realize how ingrained things were. I mean, we've got problems here. Token authenticator. Hang on a minute. What's all that about? Okay, so I'm going to have to look through this. But if we did make test unit, let's see if the unit tests work. So the unit tests are good. I fixed all the unit tests around the user entities and the managers, and that was another thing. I was relying heavily on the user manager. I injected that in most of my classes. So this has helped cough up a load of code smells. Okay, let's try and work out why. That's strange, because we had an error there, and now I ran make. Oh wait, hang on. I think I understand. I ran make test, not make tests. Make tests will test PHP beautifier, will PHP stan, PHP mess detection, and I'm sure it was PHP stan that was having an error. Yeah, so we need to fix those, whatever they are. And we also need to. Hang on a minute. just before I start this, have we done a make vendor install? Just to get the latest change, if there is anything. I came into the office late yesterday to do all this because I knew I would have to do this on stream. So I'm hoping that this is all good. But then I was working this morning on the laptop, so I can't remember what I've done. Looks okay. Looks good. Looks good. Excellent. Okay, let's now run make tests again to get those 7 out issues. App security. Is this because yeah, okay. Okay, that's because I was playing around with the security token authenticator. And I think what I've done is I've just created that class. That was what I was working on just before the stream. And it's just a stubby class at the moment. Let's get rid of it for a minute. I'm sure I'll have to put it back, but I just want like a clean slate, because last night it was PHP Stan wasn't throwing any issues, so I want to get to that point. Excellent. Okay, that's good. All right, so now this is going to do a schema validate. So this is validating, and this is being really helpful. This is validating any schema changes, because of course, if you remove FOSS user, you then have to. Oops. Yeah. So that would be make db migrate. I thought I just ran this, but we'll do it again. Yeah, so if you run if you remove FOSS user, you then also have to remove the base classes for the entities, obviously, so they disappear, which means that all of your user stuff, the schema for your database is completely changed. So it's a change. It's a big change. It's a massive change. To be fair, it's a big change to the database. It's a big change to the security layer. Everything has been basically touched by this change, and it was a change that I didn't even think I would need to do. I was kind of just hoping that they would maintain it, but I mean, it's stupid of me. I shouldn't have made that assumption for open source, and also. Symfony has, in Symfony 5, its own sort of security, well, they call it the Guard. So there really isn't a need for it. So now we can see that there's a bunch of failures. So I'll let this go, because we'll get a sort of a sense of how bad this is. But this is a great example of why tests are good, all right? Because without this, I wouldn't have a clue at how badly affected my system is. So this is why tests are very, very handy to check. And of course, these are API tests, so these will fail because there's no way of authenticating at the moment, which is good. And also, it's showing the ones that are passing, and you've got to double check those just to see should they be passing. Which I think is fine. Okay, so whilst that goes on, I'm going to do a little bit of Googling. I do have my laptop open here, so I can have a look at certain things. So I've excuse me. So I've got we're running in vendor. I'll show you what I've got going at the moment, wherever that is. Okay, where is vendor? That's strange. Is this a PHP Stan thing? Oh, don't tell me that PHP Stan has gone and hidden it for some reason. I think it has. Damn it. That's not helpful one bit. Okay, well, we have the FOSS oAuth server bundle. So FOSS oAuth server bundle. This is what we have at the moment, and we've always had, which is fine. It's perfectly fine. It works as the server, so it creates the credentials, the client IDs, and the client secrets. Perfectly fine, perfectly acceptable. It's been worked on. It's good. But we don't have a client. That's the thing. We have a server. We don't have the connection between the user and the server anymore. We need to make that connection. So what I'm thinking, because if we scroll down and have a look at the documentation, what we get here is some credentials, essentially. So we've done all this. This is all good. We've created all these. That's all fine. And we end up with, if I can get to the bottom of the documentation, somewhere down here, creating a client. Here we go. So we have this ability to create a client with some grant types, which we've done. We've already got these in. One for the system and one for the user. System uses client credentials and the user uses a password, a grant type. And what we do here is when we generate this, we get two things. We get a client ID and a client secret, which we give to the front end. We hard code that into the front end because that says to the front end, these are my security credentials, my security keys that I'm going to pass up to be authenticated. It's much like having client IDs and client secrets when you have, say, a Facebook app, that kind of thing. So, excuse me. And the client ID is, they've got one here which is public, which is fine. I think this is using the authorization code token. So there's different grant types that you can supply. So that's fine, and it works okay. I've had no issues with it. The problem, though, is how to make the connection between the entity, which is the user entity, which I've been hacking up, and how do I get the actual Symfony Guard to use the server to authenticate and authorize. Excuse me. So then I was just having a look at other things, and other documentation, such as the Symfony docs, for instance. So if we had a look in here, and if we looked into, do we have a documentation, the search thing, security? Well, let's look for guard. Guard, authenticate, right. So they have this, the guard system. And with this example, it's slightly, it's very different from how I want it. But in step one, what they've got is on the user entity itself, there is an API token, which isn't really what I need, because my tokens are stored in a different table, not on the user entity itself. And then here we have, so this is what I was playing with earlier. Token authenticator extends the abstract guard authenticator. So we'll need to build something like this. And then I started thinking, well, you know, if we're playing around with this, is this a good time to think about... that's a shame, isn't it? Bloody COVID. What was I saying? Yeah, is this a good time to think about how people could perhaps log in through different means? So in here, there is the social authentication. So if we open that up, this is using the KNP... is it KNP? Yeah, KNP University oAuth 2 server client. All right, so we've got a server. This is the client, oAuth 2 client one. And you can see down here, it's got a load of hooks, I suppose. Once you install the bits and pieces, a load of things to use to log in. So, for instance, the ones that I would be certainly interested in would be things like GitHub, possibly Twitch, maybe. But one thing is that they have here is the generic support. So if I went to generic, well, I'll just show you what I mean by this. So these providers, or these clients, I should call them, these clients, they have a client ID and they have a client secret. Now these client IDs and secrets will be generated by the oAuth server. In this case, it's Facebook. And in this case, it's Spotify. In this case, it's Slack. So we could have a generic, this is where my head is at the moment. We could have a generic provider, which would be the How to Code Well provider, which would piggyback off of the FOSS oAuth server bundle to get the client ID and the client secret. So we would put that in here. And this bundle will allow people to, well, hopefully to log in through the generic means, so logging in through username and password that is saved on our system, or potentially logging in through other things, which I think is brilliant. And the best thing about this is if I go back to here, we can see that social authentication uses Guard. So if we open up that and get straight to that breadcrumb, authenticating with Guard. So this is the same bundle here. This is an example of Facebook Authenticator. It extends the social authenticator. And if I was to look at the social authenticator, if I go into, say, SRC, and I believe it's in security, and I think it's in here. Yeah, there we go. This extends Abstract Guard, which is the Symfony Abstract Guard. Okay, so we're now using the Symfony internal bits and pieces, which is wonderful, which is great. And if we had a look at the this here, it says down here, it says a new experimental authentication system, authenticator-based system was introduced in Symfony 5.1, which we have, which will eventually replace guards in Symfony 6. Now, Symfony 6, where is this? Symfony roadmap. Because this got me worried. It was like, oh, great. I've just removed this package to create to hard code some, or rewrite some code that will eventually get rewritten soon. So anyway, Symfony 6, I don't think... Have they... I doubt it. Let's have a look. No. Well, Symfony 5.1, which we're on here, will be 2021, sort of just at the start, and then 5.2 would be quickly after that. So that I think that's fine. But the thing that I really like about Symfony is the way that they document all of this stuff, right? So a new experimental authenticator-based system was introduced in 5.1, which will eventually replace guards in Symfony 6. No idea when Symfony 6 is going to be out. So, meh. And if you open this up, go over to here, it says, using the new authenticator-based security thingy, in blah, 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 in blah, blah, blah. It says then, in Symfony 1, a new authentication system was introduced. This system changes the internals of Symfony security to make it more extensible and more understandable. But there was something I read about backwards compatibility. Somewhere. Guard authenticators are still here we go. Guard authenticators are still supported in the authenticator-based system. It is, however, recommended to also update these when you're refactoring your application to the new system. The authenticator interface has many similarities with the Guard authenticator interface, making the rewrite easier. So I think this, I'm hoping that the transition between Symfony 5 and 6, when that ever happens, in How to Code Well, would actually be fairly straightforward. I'm hoping. Fingers crossed. But I'm glad that they've put these kind of things in, because it makes one who is assessing the documentation sort of be familiar with the way that Symfony might change in the future, which is good. So let me get rid of some things. So what are we going to do then? Let's have a look at all of our tests. So we have 406 tests, 589 assertions, errors are 28, and the failures are 11. So quite a lot of things to fix, and most of them are all around the APIs. You can see, trying to make an API request, call to member function, load by username. See, this was inside the. Don't worry about all this stuff. This is using the faker stuff. So these aren't actually users to the system. These are a little bit weird. Maximum function nesting level of 256 reached aborting. I'm getting this as well on the laptop, so I'm not too sure what this is all about. But they're all generating 500s instead of 200 OKs. And I think, there's some really weird issues with the SQL. So there's still some issues around the actual database schema, which I will have to address. And then there's a load of this stuff, which is all the same bugs. Undefined property access token. And this is because we can't get an access token because we don't have that connection between the user that I've created and the FOSS oAuth server bundle. So I'm thinking that will be just one fix somewhere, and then suddenly, fingers crossed, all of this will hopefully start working. That'll all start working until it gets to about the enabled thing, which is the SQL. That's a little bit worrying. Maybe we should address this first. Maybe we should address this first and then tackle the... maybe we should do that. Okay, so an exception occurred. We'll tackle this first, and then what we'll do is we'll install this, and we'll try and rig it up to work with the FOSS oAuth server bundle. But first of all, let's try and get our ducks in a row, because it would be nice to get all the errors kind of like centering around a sort of a single or a very similar theme. So all of these are like, 500 errors, no roots found, yada yada yada. This one here though, this is odd. So user has a profile, test user has profile. It's an integration test. Oh, this might be quite straightforward, actually. Hopefully. Let's try and do this. So this is in the... This is basically how my weekend's gone. It's like, you know, what's under this rock? What's under this rock? User database. Test user has profile. So it's an integration test, right? Let's have a look at those. Oh, yes. I'm using my mouse. Yes, I must be a junior developer. Anyone saw that tweet this morning? That was ridiculous. So, where are we? Test has profile. Anything coming up? Here we go. Right. User test, line 44. Database integration. Database integration user test, line 44. Which is this one, which I'm just on. So that's doing the flush. So user is new user, then we set the email. So this is actually touching the database. When we load this, what's happening? We set the profile. That seems okay. So we instantiate a new profile, a new contract. Yeah, that seems all right. There's nothing in here about enabled, so I'm a little lost as to why that would be throwing an error. It's a SQL issue, so it will be when it gets added to the insert into username, blah blah blah, email, login, active. There is no enabled in here, so I don't understand. And I'm sure we've removed it from, if we go into our what am I looking for? Migrations. One of these had a deletion enabled, drop enabled. Yes, so there shouldn't ever be users on here. I need to roll up these migrations. Okay, so that's strange. So does this mean that there's still an enabled field? Oops. Somehow. Let's have a look. Let's log in. Oops. Let's do it on this side. Get some more room. So let's do an eval. I'm actually going to get into the database now. So Docker compose exec db, and we'll log in. Use how to code well and describe user. Okay, so we got active. We have enabled, so it hasn't been dropped. That's strange. That's very strange. That's very weird. Okay. That's a bit peculiar. Let's okay. Let's just move that over to one side a second. What I'm going to do now is jump into this container. So come on, fat fingers. Docker compose exec bash of the API, and we're going to do bin console, and there should be a diff. Let's go back over here. Bin console. And yes, we've got something. What is that? Drop enabled. Change username. That should have all been changed. I'm a little confused. Hit migrate. Yeah. Whoa! Can't drop enable. Check that the column key exists. What? That's bonkers. Maybe if I put it in, maybe it's one of those keyword reserved words. Nope. It's saying can't drop enabled. Check that the column key exists. Well, it does exist because we've just seen it. Oh, well, that's weird. Oh, wait, hang on a minute. I think I know why. Let's just delete this. Which one did we get to? 15. Which was... Sorry, 2-3. That one. So we didn't even get to this point. I think I've done it before somewhere. Let's give that a go. Yes, okay, and then this should still be... Let's just run that again. Yes, so we no longer have enabled, because we have active. Okay, I think that should solve that. So if we come out of this... So I just didn't do the migration. And then if we did... make tests again. Did Murphy still get his Sunday morning forest walk? Even though there was coding work plenty. No, he didn't. And it wasn't because I was working, it was just because it was raining very hard. So we're going to take him out later on this evening. But we did obviously play with him and keep him active and stuff. Being running around the house and the garden and stuff. But no, it was chucking it down. Absolutely chucking it down. The weather is it's turned into that horrible hey, I've just noticed my ceiling light's on. That shouldn't happen. Let me just turn that off. That's better. No, we didn't take him out, but we will tonight. I'm hoping that's gonna help me sleep. I haven't been sleeping well recently. Just got things on my mind, like a lot of code. So it'll be nice to break it up. Okay, so we can still see there's a lot of errors here. Ton of problems to deal with. Ton of problems to work through. I'm just going back to my notes on my laptop. Bear with me a minute. Cool. I can see people. I can see the beta testers working. That's great. Let's get rid of that for a second. Yeah. So unfortunately, we were supposed to do the test, the code review today. But to be honest, I was so tired. I'm glad we're not, to be honest, because my head's not in it. But it means that everyone's got another week, which is good, because unfortunately I didn't promote it enough. Again, my fault. I've just been so busy with things. So yeah, if anybody wants to take part in the coding challenge for this coding challenge, then do join. It's tic-tac-toe. I'll be talking about this again throughout the stream. But for anybody who wants to take part, the idea is that we build a tic-tac-toe game in JavaScript, and this project will take a couple of months to do, because there's a couple of challenges to do that cover this game. So this is only building the interface. Now I was supposed to be reviewing this today, but because I broke all the things with Symfony, I need to fix all the things. So this will be done next week. Next Sunday I will be reviewing these. So it gives you more time to work on it and more time to take part. So I'll put a link in the channel here. codingchallenges.howtocodewell.net is the link to go to. And how are we getting on with those errors? Still a bunch. We're still working through API tests, I think. Yeah. I would be lost without these tests. Absolutely lost without these. These are keeping me sane at the moment. Okay, let's scroll up. Let's see if we get that. Hang on. How many we got? 28 and 11 failures. Is that the same amount of numbers that we had before? Do we still have the issue with that? We still seem to have the enabled thing. Let's see if I can target this test, because this obviously is going to take ages to work through all of these. So let's see if we can target that. So test user has profile. This is an integration test, I believe, which is test user has profile. Yes, so we can tackle that. So if we did, come to the bottom here, and if we did, we'll obviously have to get into the containers. If we did bin codesep run integration -g and focus on that single test. There we go. So let's see if we can get this fixed, because this doesn't make any sense. If I was to run this again, we've got enabled back. Hang on a minute. Something smells fishy here. Oh wait. I know. I understand now. Yes, it's because oh dear. It's because what's happening, you see, is that the database is being changed for every test. It gets rebuilt, but I haven't changed the dump file. That's why. Dear. Gosh, there's so many things involved here. So what's going on is in the tests themselves as data, and we have a dump SQL file here, which hasn't changed. So it's obviously always going to go back to what it was, which is why those migrations were screwing up. It all makes sense. Right, so how do we solve this? We come out of, not this, we come out of that. We come out of the container and we do make db migrate. Okay, so we drop the database, we run the migrations, we purge the database, and we add all the fixtures. Sweet. Somewhere I have a make file that has, well, down here is my make file, but somewhere on this make file is a little command that I created a long time ago around the database. Where are we? Here we go. Which will dump. That's the. Is that it? Yes. So this will dump the how to code well to there. There we go. Right. So if we now did make DB test backup, and we put in our super secret squirrel password, which is test on development. That should now be in, which means that I should be able to run in the container that test, and hopefully, fingers crossed, this will either throw a different error or pass. So it's passed. Wonderful. Okay, let's see if we can run all the tests. So I'm going to come out of this. Has that actually changed anything? You know, any other tests? That would be interesting. Let's do make tests again. This has basically been my weekend, really. It's like, do a little thing, it has a massive impact, so then you're trying to work out, fix all the things. I didn't realize it was going to be this big of a job. Okay. It always freaks me out when it slows down. I'm sure that was working beforehand. What did we have before? It was like 28 errors and 11 failures. That's what we had before. Okay. I'm going to put this in chat just so I've got something to so I can see that. Use chat as like my little notepad. Oh no. Now I fixed it. We've got lots of issues. Blimey. What's the betting that they will fail? But once this is done, once we've got that SQL issue in, we can work on that the oAuth stuff. I think these are pulling back exceptions and checking for the exceptions, which is good. So yeah, here get all premium with no token would throw an error, and it's checking for that error. Yeah. Hey, thank you for following. I do appreciate it. All of the emotes have come up. Thank you very much. It is just checking the name. Oh gosh. Is it Christhan? I can't pronounce that, but thank you ever so much for joining and following. I appreciate it. I really do. Watching me struggle through PHP and Symfony. Oh, Christian. Duh. What? Either I've been up too long, or I just need my eyes checked. Or both, probably both. Okay. So the reason why those tests were running really, really slowly, and these as well, is because they were dropping the database each time and recreating it. These, on the other hand, these are unit tests. All right. So what have we got? Come on. What do we got? We have 406 tests, 52 assertions, 53 errors, slightly higher than last time, and 7 failures. Well, last time we had 28 errors and 11 failures. Now we have 7 failures, but 53 errors. What's the difference between an error and a failure? I'm guessing a failure is a failing test, right? And an error is an error that's preventing that test from happening, I would imagine. Oh, The hidden community. We code in the shadows of night. Well, I've been here all along. So yeah, it's nice to have you on board. Nice to have you on board. The coding community on Twitch is actually quite large. I'm part of the live coders, and they've got a really good set of coders that do a whole different bunch of programming languages. I specialize in PHP and JavaScript, but there's a bunch of Rust developers and Go developers and Java developers and all sorts of devs. Okay, I'm just trying to work out. So these are failures because they have returned a 500 error, not a 200 okay. Okay, so that's the failures. So where are the errors? Up here would be the errors, right? Okay, that makes sense. And it would make sense that there's more errors because the access token isn't actually defined because we've disconnected that. I gotcha. Okay. Excuse me. Okay. All right. Okay, I think it's time to take a look at at this. I think it's about time that I made that connection between because I've removed FOSS user, and I've created my own user class. So if we had a look at step 1, prepare your user class. So I've done this apart from obviously not having the API token in. Create your authenticator class. Now, we're actually going to be using something slightly differently than this because we're going to be using the KPN University oAuth 2 client bundle. So I think what I'll do is I'll install this. If you're using Symfony Flex, the bundle will be automatically enabled. For older apps, enable it in your kernel class. Okay, right. Let's give this a blast, shall we? So I'm gonna have to jump into the container again to do this, and we'll just run this here. Technically speaking, I've got next week off from freelance work. However, you rarely have a week off when you're a freelancer. I'm going to probably be doing a lot of this, to be fair. Okay, here we go. The recipe for this package from Contrib requires a recipe. Do I want to run it? Yes. Configuring. Let's come out of... I'll show you what I mean by the client secrets and the tokens. So if we did show tables on here, we can see that we have the client. This is what the server's done. It's created us a client with access tokens, an auth code, and other various bits and pieces like that. And if we did a describe of client, we can see... Let's just bring this out a little bit so everyone can see. Come on, where's my cursor gone? Gotcha. Right. So we've got the secrets, the ID, random ID, and the redirect URLs, as well as the grant type. So this is the backbone of the oAuth server. What we've just installed here, should hopefully give us download and configure the client in oAuth clients. Okay, whatever. So this should give us a generic client. So I kind of want to follow the generic stuff down here. So here we go. Below is the configuration for all supported oAuth 2 providers. Don't see one that you need. Use the generic provider to configure any excuse me, any provider. Excuse me. So this is what we've got here. And if I was to grab generic again and jump down, here we go. So this is how we would do a generic one. We would pass in generic type. I'll have to work out what on earth that is. That's some sort of provider. And then these would be the client IDs and the client secrets that we've got from our server. And then something to do with redirect routes and other various things like that. So I guess what I need to do is configure this. I'm just going to go right to the top and check it. I'm not missing anything. But I guess this is essentially what it'll be. But let's just scroll up right to the top and see if there's anything I'm missing here. So we've installed it. And we choose one of these things. And we want to choose the generic one. And then awesome, now you've configured your provider for Facebook. This will look like something like this. Okay. Notice the two invars calls. These will be in your .env files. Fine. Okay, so that's that. We'll do that, and then after this, it is use the client service. So each client you configure now has its own service that can be configured to communicate with the oAuth 2. To start the oAuth process, you need to create a route and controller that redirects to Facebook. Because we use the key Facebook main above, you can simply do this. Alright, let's not get too and then authenticating with Guard. This is what I want to play with. Alright, let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Let's just grab this. And this is going to go into the kpnu oAuth 2 client YAML file. So if we go over to configure, and it'll be in packages, be in here. There we go. And we want to change this to be our generic one, I guess. This one. Okay. So we won't call it foobar. We'll call it how to code well. HTCW. It is generic. I need to work out what on earth that is. And then this will be our client. This will be our HTCW client ID and our HTCW client secret. Okay. Okay. So now what is this? What is that? I believe this is something to do with I believe a provider. If we scroll up to the top here, right to the top, here we go. We got a list of providers here. So I would imagine that these are classes. So is there a way I can copy one? In fact, if I had a look at providers, is there anything to do with... Optionally, if your provider has a custom constructor options, no. Above here. Find your provider client. First, see if oAuth is already... see the provider list of libraries. If you found one, awesome. If not, see the provider guide about this. Okay, then either way, this step, you should have a provider class, e.g. a class that extends the abstract provider, and that is ready to use. So let's load this up. The PHP League, oAuth 2 client. New providers may be created by copying the layout of an existing package. See the list of providers for good examples. When choosing a name for your package, please don't use the League vendor prefix. Okay. By copying the layout of existing package. I don't really want to do that. I just want to have a file. So if you're working on an oAuth 2 service not supported out of the box or an existing package, it is quite simple to implement your own. Simply extend the League oAuth 2 and implement the required abstract methods. Okay, that sounds like a good way forward. Okay, I'll have to learn about what these would be. Each of these abstract methods contain a doc block defining their exception and their typical behaviors. Once you have extended this class, you can simply follow the usage example in the README using your new provider. Okay. Okay, fair enough. Okay, all right. So we need to create some provider that extends this, which implements all those. That's what we need to do. This package comes with a trait for implementing bearer authorization. To use this, you just need to include this trait into your provider class. That's what we will need to do. Okay, so they've called this a gateway, right? And they've called this a provider. I'm just trying to work out naming conventions. So generic provider. I think I should probably call this. We should probably have app. Just having a look at the namespaces. It should be app, and then this should be security, and then this would be how to code well provider, I guess. Or do I want to have another level above? No, I think we'll keep it to that. We'll do how to code well oAuth provider. That sounds good. Capitalization, Fisher. Keep it capitalized. Don't really want to move the directory. I want to. Let's just delete it. Ugh. Why can't I delete that? Capital S. Get it right. Okay, and we're going to call this we'll create a new PHP file, and we'll call this the oAuth provider. Class HTC oAuth provider extends. And actually, let's get my namespaces in check. And we'll also, I haven't done this on all the things, but we should also have strict, declare strict types. Okay, this will extend. What does it extend? It extends the abstract provider. Abstract provider. There we go. Cool. So now we can do add stubs, all the things. We'll add the docs. There we go. All right, let's just get rid of. the things that we don't need. Actually, we best put that back. All right. Okay, so we need to somehow fill these all out, which is all that stuff. Each of these abstract methods contains a doc block defining the exceptions and typical behavior. Once you have extended this class, you can simply follow this usage example in the README using your own provider. If you wish to use your provider to make authenticated requests to the service, you will also need to define how you provide the token to the service. If this is done via headers, you should override this method. Okay. Okay, let's open that up. I think I've already got that open, but... Okay. A list of official... yeah, we've done this. So that's how we're going to instantiate it, passing in these things. All right. Okay, give me a second whilst I wrap my head around this stuff. I wonder if it's worth me... I could do with seeing an example of all of this stuff, the internals, because I've got a good idea as to what this should all be, but it'd be nice to see something to go off of. Because that's not the case. It just says to do. Let's go back here for a second. Let's have a look at the provider guide. Oh, that was what I was looking at. That's not what I wanted to do. Provider list. Provider. GitHub, is that GitHub? Does this extend abstract provider? Yes, which is where does that live? It doesn't. Oh wait, hang on. So GitHub extends abstract provider, but it's not in here. But this is how... Are these the same things? Let's have a look. Do we have that? Yes, we do. Okay, and do we have... I mean, these seem very configurable. What's that about? If this domain does not equal GitHub, then return API domain user. Or, okay, get the provider URL to fetch the user details. I gotcha. Okay. Okay. So there's more documentation here than the other one. Okay. So we've got public domains, API domains. I see. I guess what we can do is just follow this as a good example, I suppose. That would be that would work. So these are getters. Is there any setters? There's a check. There's a create. So if we scroll down here, we've got get default scopes, check response. So response interface, response passing in data. What is the response interface? Have we got that defined here? That's an array. Check a provider response for errors. If response get code is greater than or equal to 400, then we throw an exception. Else, if is set data, then we throw a GitHub identity provider exception. Oh, I see. Okay. Okay. Create a resource owner. So generate a user object from a successful user details request. So GitHub resource owner response set domain. Let's have a look at what that's for. Resource owner. Domain and response. So we instantiate a new GitHub resource owner. Okay, and we pass in our response. So is that what we're doing here? Yeah, we're passing in an array of response. I gotcha. All right, so we're passing that in. And strange, my stream says I'm offline. Okay, so in my case, it's passing a response interface, I believe. No, it is an array. So somehow that must get JSON decoded or something. Yeah, into an array. We do, however, get an access token. Which isn't used here. Have I Alright, so we instantiate that, pass that through, then we get the IDs and the emails. Okay, so this is just like a user entity, isn't it? That's what it is. Return all the... Yeah, okay, fine. Okay, let's start building this, I suppose. And I guess what we should do is a kind of a sort of a semi-TDD way, I suppose. I mean, I've just created stubs at the moment, but it would be useful to test this as I go. So let's do first up, right? Let's see what is this tested? Is there any tests in here? Yes. So GitHub test. So this is instantiating a new GitHub. That's the as a new provider. URL, get URL. URI, pass the URI. This provider, get authorized URL. Oh, okay, we've got a tear down and a setup. That's on setup. Okay, so this is making sure that these are in play. Okay, so it'll be very similar to this. Getting the access token here, so we're doing a mock of a response interface. Getting the body and return, so this is a mock. Should receive. Mocking guzzle, nice. And then this is a mocked token. And then we equal the access token to the token that we've just created. So mock access token, which is this. And we're making sure that that is in there from here, and then we are testing expires, refresh, and resource. Well, blimey, okay. Okay, so that goes quite in depth. Fair enough. All right, what I'm going to do then is create some unit tests for this particular class, I think. And they're probably going to seem very straightforward at first, but I just want something to keep double checking my work. At the moment, all the unit tests are passing, so which is good. I guess what we should have is a section called security. And we'll just grab a test just to keep the bits. HTCW oAuth provider test, and that namespace needs to change to security, and this is HTC oAuth provider test. Okay, so we need to have the unit testers, but this can go. And let's just get rid of all this apart from the last one. So we're going to create a provider. So at this point we'll do this. This provider is equal to a new HTCW oAuth provider test. Okay. And we can get rid of all that for a second. And we're going to just do some very lightweight tests. What's wrong with that? No, that's fine. So this provider get. So we'll just do the. Why is that not coming back as a? Is that not? Maybe I shouldn't call it provider. HTC. None of these. Hang on a minute. This doesn't make sense. My namespaces are probably not. My my HTCW oAuth provider app security. There we go. So we instantiate that incompatible. Blah 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 blah. Oh. Moron. Okay. Alright, so get. Now, okay, this is what we want. Base access token. We want to test all these things out. Base access token, the authorized URL, the resource owner details. Okay. So the access token should be HTTPS API dot howtocodewell.net .local. So this is base access token URL. I just want to double check that against this. base authorization URL. Get base token URL. Oh, okay, I've got you. Okay, so that's the URL. So this should be the domain. I see, okay. So in this case, it should be that, and it's a getter, so I shouldn't even be doing that in a getter. Let's do self assert same. Let's put in expected is equal to oAuth token. So the expected should be in here. Now, obviously, this will fail. Obviously, of course, because we haven't set this up yet. But this is me defining the specification for this. Okay, let's think. It's not get relationships. It's get base token URL. And this is the how to code well oAuth provider. Get base token URL. Okay. Okay. So if we ran this in our shiny little container here. So if we did bin code set run unit g. In fact, yeah, let's just do security. We should only have one test. I hope. Come on. There we go. Right, there we go. Too few arguments in app provider, blah, blah, blah. Oh, wait. I thought that was... Hang on. I didn't realize there was any parameters in here. Hang on a second. In one of these tabs. Get passing in the parameters. Okay, so they're not doing anything with those parameters. What would those parameters be? I don't know what those parameters would be. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. But it's required, so we'll put in just some square brackets for now. So hopefully this will fail with the right error that the expected failed asserting that null is actually identical to. So this here needs to go into our provider, I think. And we're going to do this as a constant because this shouldn't change, right? HTCW domain, API domain, and it's that. Obviously, this will be changing in the staging and everything else. So we'll have another const, which and let's set these to private, and we'll refactor this, and we'll have our own const file somewhere, I suppose. This will be HTCW API auth URI, which will be oAuth. oAuth, come on, man. Pull it together. oAuth token. And then down in here, what we need to do is we need to return. Does this say return a string, but we're not returning? Okay, fine. Because this implements or extends the abstract, I'm going to have to follow the signatures of these things, right? Yeah, so they don't, it's PHP, whatever it is, version. It doesn't have the return types defined. Okay, so this is going to now return self domain dot self yeah, there we go. Okay, so now let's run that test, and it should hopefully, fingers crossed if I've done it right, work. Yeah, all right, cool. So next on my hit list is the base authorization URL, excuse me, which I think is just is the actual API jobby, is it not? Oh no, sorry, it's that. It is that, but with authorize. Fine, okay. Okay, right. What's the difference between... Oh, okay, I've just noticed that. So there's an API domain and a normal domain. So we're using the normal domains. At what point do... Okay, so that there's a possibility in this instance of going by multiple domains, by both the API. We don't need to worry about that. We only need to worry about the one. That's fine. So this is the authorize. Private const how to code well API that should be token actually, and that should be auth URI, and this is oAuth. It's not, but it will. It's not yet. Okay. So let's create a test quickly before I start jumping ahead. So this is get auth URL, or it should be URI to be honest. No, that's a URL. Get that should be get base access to base token. This is get auth URL, and this should be get authorization URL. Nothing supplied. That should be the string. However, that should be authorize. Let's simplify these tests a little bit. Oops, sorry. Magic mouse getting too excited there. And then what we'll do, yeah, that looks good, is just double check that I've spelt this correctly. Yeah. And we will run those tests again. We should have one correct and one failing. Have I called these the same groups? That should be, oh yeah, no, that's fine. Okay. Let's get back to the terminal. Okay, no, we've got two failing. That's not right. Get base token URL. Should be that. Hang on a minute. Have I missed something? That's access token. That's base authorization. that is correct. Auth URL. Oh no, I've gone and messed this up. Sorry. There we go. And then this should be in here. And I can't, dear, come on. N. See, this is what testing is good, because you make spelling mistakes. This is auth URI. Yeah, okay, let's now run that. And we should hopefully get 2 passing. Fingers crossed. Yes, good. Okay, so next on the list. After we've done, let's get back to the code. Okay, so we've done these 2. Now it's get resource owner details URL. So I think this is, if I was to look at this here, I think this is getting the actual user account stuff. Again, we'll put this into constants. Sorry, I've done that again, haven't I? So in here, get resource owner URL. And that is get resource owner. That should be owner details, but that's fine. So this would be user, I think, like that. So let's run those tests. We should have 1 fail, 2 pass. Oh. Access token. Hang on. Why do we need to supply the access token? It's just returning a string. Fine. Is that... Hang on, wait. That's not nullable. So how have they done it? They must have been... Do we have an example of how this is used? Yeah, we would, actually. It would be in the tests, wouldn't it? Get authorization URL, get base URL token. Get access token. Let's look for resource. Here we go, resource owner details passing into token. Token that has been defined is based on this, which is off of the provider. Get access token passing in the authorization code. So maybe that's something I haven't done yet. Provider. Do we have get access token? No, we don't. Do we have anything in the base class? Okay, no, that's strange. Oh, it's get access token, not get token. Here we go. That's access token method. Access token request. Here we go, access token. Passing a grant and the options. This verify. Excuse me. Murphy just saying hello. Okay, this might lead me down to a bit of a mocking rabbit hole here, because by the looks of things, I need to supply a token. Just to get this URL back. Murphy's in. Murphy's in the office. Hello, buddy. Good boy. Yeah, how am I going to do this? How have they done this? It's probably a good... So what they're doing is they're getting the access token. Are they mocking this out? So they've got this provider domain. Response mock should receive access token, mock access token IC. So they're actually mocking the whole request out to then get the access token, which is the mock authorization code. Get access code, authorization code. Okay. Mock refresh token will return. I'm not sure where that's coming from. Let's just try it. Where's my tests gone? Here. Okay. So we're going to test that out. Okay, so this here is, what's the method called? Get resource owner details URL. And we need to supply a token. What are we expecting back from this? That's what we're expecting back from this. So here what we do is we say token is equal to this provider, this HTC provider, get access token. And in here we need to supply an array, which looks like, yes, so this is the grant type. So that would be... Murphy, come on, out please. So this would be something like a password. This would be access token. Mock access token. Okay. So then we pass in the URL. I'm not sure if we have to mock anything else for that. Let's just give that a blast and see. I'm sure it'll fail. We'll find out. Okay, yeah. So too few arguments have been done. Obviously, sorry, it's password access token, and I'm not supplying the username. So that would be the required parameter of here. how that would get set. There is someone looking after my dog, honest. So, the username, where is that being supplied or not being supplied? Where would that go? Too few arguments. Let's deal with this one first. So resource owner details 0 passed in, and exactly 1 is expected. On provider test on line 62. Provider test line 62. Oh, hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. I think that's a copy and paste error. Let's get rid of that. So then this one here is the username issue. Options. Maybe, I reckon it comes into the options, you know. I think that goes in the options. So this would be username, and this would be password. Of course it would be. Silly me. Password. So this would be mock username, and this would be mock password. Now this is still probably going to fail because I haven't mocked the actual ability to generate a token. This is now doing a curl back. Right, okay. Let's see what they've done. Yeah, yikes. So we're mocking the response. And we're saying that the response should receive a status code of 200 with all the bodies and other various bits and pieces. And then we're mocking the client itself. And we're setting the client. Here we go. We then set the client to this. All right, so this is probably what we need to do here. What's M? I have never seen that before. What does M mean? Is that some sort of fancy pants mocking? Yeah, I don't think we need to do that. This should be this. Create mock, and this is going to be client interface class. Client should receive send one time with a response, so we need to mock the response. And then this is the HTCW provider. We need to set the client on here, so we need to now get the response back. So we'll grab that as well and mock the response out. Again, this needs to be this. Create mock. And I mean, we could leave it like that, but let's do a response interface class. Maybe that's not the way it should be. That's creating a mock. Do we do get mock or something? Create mock. Maybe that's not the way, not found on mock object. Is it a stub? No. I've totally forgotten. Is it just partial mock. Let's have a look. Configured mock. I thought it was that, to be honest, but although there's an error here, was that expected? Oh, silly. No, that's obviously not how you mock. Using mockery mock should receive no. Ah, it's not this make, is it? Nope. Nope. What is the equivalent of that? Do I have mockery? Because apparently that has it. Apparently not. Creating partial mocks should receive. I think it's a mockery thing. It must be. This mock should receive M. Yeah, I think it is. All right. Thank you very much, Mr. DB303. Take care. Have a good evening, afternoon, morning, wherever it is in the world you are. Enjoy the rest of your day, sir. What is it that we're response object? Response instance. Maybe there's an example. Mock API responses. That's not, definitely not what we need. And that's not spelt right. Codeception. So save, return. Ah, Peterborough. Yeah. It's sunless over here too. Make empty except. I'm just trying to find the equivalent of should receive. Hang on a minute, isn't it just this, right? Isn't it just make username, that's the parameters, and then this is the function, so you can return a closure. So to replace methods, provide to replace a method, I should say a method, to replace method, provide its name as a key in the second parameter and its value. So yeah, I think this is just this make, and then it's that, and here we should have get body, and that would return this. But how can I add things to this though? Oh, here we go, method. I was hoping for some form of, that's not going to work, is it? Can I do it with more than one? I mean, is that a thing? Can I do that? Is it a case of supplying them as keys and values? So this make, and then this would be like that, and then this would be like get body, and this would be I'm not sure. Let me see what I've got something in here which is add method, I'm sure. Add methods invoke. Get mock builder, disable, okay, and then add methods, okay. Because I think here we have set methods and only methods. That's what we need to do. I see. Using the actual mock builder. Okay. So this is create mock, or get mock builder, something like that. Get mock builder. Passing in the class name. Like that. And then we have, so that's been deprecated, and that's been deprecated because I think it's only methods. And that's an array of methods, and I think I can do this, which is what I was trying to do earlier. So that would be get body. I mean, mockery looks really good, but I haven't got it installed. So, and I think I can do this as well, and it will return that array, and also get status code. That's 200. Right, so let's mock this out. So let's just call this what it is. So response mock. So mocking an API response, and this is client mock. Okay, so client mock is obviously get the mock builder based on here, but client mock has set a send method, which returns the response mock. I think that's right. Let's give it a go. No, trying to set mock access, hang on, that doesn't make sense. Why is that set only methods? What? Hang on, I've done this completely wrong, haven't I? Oh, wait. That's the mock builder. I need to return the mock, don't I? Silly. I need to do get mock. There we go. And I think I'm going to have to do it here as well. So get mock. All right, let's give that another go. Okay, trying to set mock method. Still thinking that that is the method though. Maybe I'm doing this completely wrong. Well, obviously I am. Get only methods. I just need an example. Okay, we're setting get ID, but we're not actually supplying or replacing the return of them. Okay. Okay, right. A method exists, a method that doesn't exist. Okay. Did I see an ad? Test doubles. Expects this, get mock, expects this, any method, stub expects, get mock. I've been doing it wrong, haven't I? Method do something, will return. Why have I done this? This is so annoying. Okay, let's do it like that. So get, get mock builder. Get mock. And this is going to have to be. These. Sure. Yeah, it's not key value pairs, is it? Right, okay, so response mock. Set methods except get mock. Unless I do it above here. No, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. Okay. Create mock. Sorry, I am going all over the place with this. Bear with me a minute. Expects, here we go. And with the mock, can I mock the... No, I can just put in the class name. So we can do expects and we can do method. So can we do method? Can we do, what does expects? Invocation rule. This, any. Method. Method to mock, so in this case it will be getBody. Here we go. And then will return. Here we go. Here we go. And then the value would be this. I see. Can I do another one? Method. Get header. Will return. And also, method. Get status code. Will return. Whoops. 200. Okay. So that's that one mocked. And I suppose we kind of need to do the same here. So this would be create mock. Client mock. Method. Oh, sorry. No. I need to do expects this any method send will return response mock, obviously. And then we set that. Okay. Let's see. Why not? What could possibly go wrong? Okay, rule for method name is already defined and cannot be redefined. Okay, that was a PHP framework warning. Which method are we talking about? Because I've done many. Let's split this up. Let's do it one by one, right? Are we talking about the first one? Could not resolve host. So it was something to do with that. Get header will return. Oh, okay. Let's tackle this. Sorry, I know what's going on. It's because I need to mock that client. Let's just do let's just put that in as null. I know that this isn't going to work, but I just want to see if that error message is still the same. Because if it is, it means that I'm mocking this wrong. Method send may not return null, value of null. Its return declaration is response interface. Okay. Okay, so that seems to have gone through okay. So, okay, method get body will return this, and then method will return. Do I have to do these individually and have like multiple method? Right, yes, I do. I totally missed that. Okay, so after this will return, we're going to close that off, and then we'll do another response mock, and we'll put in expects, and then this, of course. That makes sense. That makes sense. This any. Let's just knock that down there. And we all will have to do that again on the third time down here. So we got response mock, and again we need to do that as well, sort of down here. Okay, I'm learning. I'm learning. All right. Cool. Okay, let's now see what happens. Okay, we got get resource owner details URL. Failed a setting that null is identical to that. Okay, that didn't work. My guess is that there's some problem up here. Access token passing in the something to do with. Let's just, because I know in this example, wherever that example lives, this one, we're using a different type of access. So let's. I think that's the same, but I think I'm just going to copy it for a minute, and then down here we have this. It might be because I haven't set my provider up correctly. Yeah, it could be that. It could be that, because at the moment on the setup, all I've done is I've just said this HTCW provider is just an instantiation of this. Whereas I believe on this example, what's happening is that they've created in setup, they've created a client ID and a client secret. So let's just copy that. No, that's not the thing, is it? Unless this is because I'm not using Mockery and they are. And so it's... Scroll down here a minute. I'm literally mocking out this, aren't I? So... And it is... It's this that I'm dealing with. I'm wondering if it's the whole should receive stuff. I wonder where... so this is failing on line 90. Which is this. So we're expecting this back. Oh, wait. I'm returning null. I'm not actually doing anything. So as okay. This just shows how in depth I go, and I totally forget the origin of. All right, so I've got it. I know what needs to be done. I need to create a private constant here, and this is user URI, and this should go back to user. And yeah, down on here, what we should do is we should return self HTCW API domain plus self that. Okay, so we've mocked the token that goes through. Okay, fine. That's good. So let's run this. This should now pass. And it does. Woohoo! Okay, we're getting there. We're getting there slowly, but surely. At least now I've learned how to mock Guzzle, which is going to be proving very useful. Okay, the next one is get to default scopes. Default scopes. Let's have a look and see in our. So they just return an array. Get a default scopes by the provided by this provider. This should not be a complete list of scopes, but the minimum required. In my API, there is no scopes at the moment. So we're just going to return an array. So I will make sure in the test that it's just returning a blank array. That's probably for now. Get scopes, get default scopes. Oh wait, is that not? Hang on, hold fire. It's a protected function. How am I supposed to test a protected function? Where does that go? Is there anything? No, it's just inbuilt, so that's untestable. Okay. Unless I created a public function to get it, but there's no point for that. Let's just return an array. Okay, so I can't test that one. Next one, check response. Check response. So we pass in a response interface. Check the provider response for errors. So if the response status code is greater than or equal to 500, then we throw an exception. I see. So we have our own exception handlers in here. So no, actually, I'm thinking of a different project. I'm using FOSS REST, and no exception controller. There we are. I thought we had one. It's returning. Have we got anything custom in here? No. So it's kind of doing the same thing. So this is just generating different HTTP status codes based on the response. Right. Okay, so in the test, what we should be doing is making sure that the right exception is being thrown for the different status codes, right? And I think I don't have. I'm thinking of another project where we've got a list of different exceptions that marry up to the different status codes, but that's not this one. So, okay. This would be check. Nope. Don't tell me that's protected as well. It is protected. Have they tested this? Is there a way that they've done this? No. Have they done any testing with exceptions? Doesn't look like it. Aha, test exceptions thrown. Here we go. Status code is a random 400 or 6 to 600. Will receive, will return, post response. At get access token, authorize code. That doesn't really make sense. So we've got an exception being mocked here. We post that in as a response. And then we're saying that when we do this provider, that's not actually... There's no assertions here, there's no assertions here. So that's not actually testing anything. Unless... Oh, sorry, no, we are. We've got expected exception at the top here. Forgive me. Okay. I see. Okay, so we could do that. We could do that. No problem. So back in the tests here. Let's do a 401. And we're going to have to copy all this jazz. And the idea is that we'll get a status of 401. And we'll change that in here with a similar message. It won't be exactly the same. Sorry, I don't need that extra bracket. So the message, is that the way we do these things? We've got errors, messages. Let me see. Errors are messages. So no, we don't have messages, we just have errors. Yeah, so let's try and keep it as is, so we don't have that. This would be access denied, and that would come out like that. Like that. Yeah. In fact, it would be like this. Yeah, access denied. Okay. Passing in the authorization code, URL expected. Okay, let's get rid of this for a second. I'm not a massive fan of doing expected exceptions in here. Although, I suppose I could try it, couldn't I? Yeah, it's deprecated. Yeah. What we can do is, I think, if I was to look at the tests, throw... I think we do it in a closure, if I remember rightly. Yeah, expect throwable. So at this point, we need to do this expect throwable, passing in seriously? Pretty sure I've done this. This tester expect throwable. That is the first, and then it's it's an static function. Yeah, I thought that was the way. Let me just double check that. That's the throwable exception, which would be a HTTP access denied exception. This one. And I think yeah, it's static. That, I'm hoping, is going to be okay. Now, I haven't got anything written for this yet. Okay, exception of class. Expected to be thrown, but class error was caught. I think that's because I haven't actually created the code for the test. I'm hoping that's the case. So let's go into here. And whoops. And if response status code. Get status code. I mean, we could. Looking forward to PHP 8 when I can use match, but I suppose right now we can just do an if statement. Throw new HTTP. Sorry, access denied. HTTP exception. Passing in a message of access denied. See if that works. No. That's the problem when you're testing exceptions, because if you've got a problem in your exception testing thing, then if this is not right, then you'll be throwing another exception, which is probably what I'm doing here. Let me just copy or see what this is doing. Should receive, send. Are we doing that? Yep. And we'll return a response mock. And then we try and attempt to do the get access. I wonder if I need to do that in here as well. Actually, I wonder if I have to do the whole thing in here because it is a closure. I could use it, couldn't I? I could, but let's just try and put this in. No, that didn't make a difference. So it doesn't return anything. 401. Let's make sure that that is the thing that we're throwing. Yes. Is there anything in my logs? Well, this would be in my logs, wouldn't it? Let's just have a quick Google. It's not looking for the text in the exception, it's looking for the name of the exception class. So it's looking for the name of that class. Except exception is deprecated or not in use. Still the same error though, so I'm thinking that there's more to this than I'm thinking this is my setup problem. So we're creating a mock and we're doing get body, and it's going to return an access denied error. If we do the header, it's going to return this form URL encode. I'm not sure that's needed, but and then we do a get status code and it will return 401. Okay, so then we create we mock the Guzzle client, and we change the sender method to return the response mock. We then attempt to do get access token, supplying in the grant of authorization code, and then this is what the code is. And we're looking for an exception to be thrown. But that's not happening. Yeah, that's not the thing. Good old Symfony casts. Okay, here's some examples. So I expect throwable, my throwable class. I expect a new exception. So handles and checks throwables exception errors called inside a callback function. Either throwable class names or the throwable instance should be provided. Okay. If you want to check a message on the throwable code, you can pass them with the throwable instance. Okay. So we could and the message that we are apparently throwing is this. Still that. Expected to be thrown, but an error was caught. Okay, enough of this. Let's take a look at the logs. Make log critical. Right, run this again. Nothing in the logs. Marvelous. That's not what I wanted to see. Okay, first up, is this an actual throwable? It is previous is a throwable. HTTP exception. Implements runtime exception throwable. Yes. Okay, so there we go. Let's not do it as static. That might be a thing. That might be the thing. Yeah, that's right. Right, okay. So, what we can do now is test different scenarios. So, 401, 500, yada yada yada. Let's create a data provider for this. So what we need to do is public function exception provider, and it's going to return an array with the status code as the key, so 401, and the message is going to be access denied. Okay. And then here we can have at data provider, and this is called exception provider, and that will return I think it's like this. I think this is the right way. So we would have status, because that would be the key, and the message. I think that's right. So what we want to do here is use status and message within the callback. I think this is correct. Hang on a minute. I've done this before. I'm sure I have. I'm sure I've got a static function. These are all statics. One step. I'm sure I've done this before. Yeah, here we go. Static function and then use. Okay, it goes the other way around. Fair enough. All right, so it would be static function and then is it that then? Is that doesn't look right. That doesn't look right to me. Let me have a look. Let me have another look. Somewhere down here. Somewhere down here I've done this before. But I cannot remember where. One of these had a use. Here we go. Function. Yes, that is correct. Okay, fine. I just didn't look right. So now we've got the status, which is that, because that's been passed in. Let's update the documentation here. I think this is correct. Who knows? And then this is the message. So we can concatenate that. that. And then down here, oh wait, hang on a minute. No, this isn't going to work, is it? This isn't going to work. I'm being too clever. No, this isn't going to work because I'm going to need different throwable things. Rats. No, I'm being too clever. Let's get... unless, hang on a minute. So we're passing in 401 into here. So we know that it's going to be in access, and we know that we've got the message. So could we not do... Can we not do exception class is equal to, and passing in an exception class? In fact, could we just not do... Yeah. I am making this too complicated. Shouldn't we just do that? And this would be exception. And that would be here. And we're going to use that as well. Just because this is going to be get message. So there's no need for that. This means now I can probably pass in another one. But let's just run this first and see. So did we get the status is... Yeah, that's the thing. Let's run it. Yeah, that's worked. So let's do another one. Let's say that we wanted to throw a 400 bad argument. Invalid argument exception. I think that is coming off of... That's a logic exception. No, that's not what I want. Invalid, HTTP header malformed, request. So we should test that too. So where did that come from? HTTP exception. Oh, it's just a generic exception. Okay. Okay. Use that. And then run this, and it should fail. Oh, really? Hang on a minute, that's not right. Oh, is it because... It's not helping, is it? No, that shouldn't be passing. Hang on a minute. Wait. 1, 2, 3. We've only got 3 tests. Why is this not testing? We've got more than 3 tests. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, why is this not... Why is that not doing anything? Why is this not running a test? That's strange. 3 tests. But why are we skipping this one out? What? Have I given it a different group? No. It's the same group. Let's see if I can target that. That's weird. No tests executed. Hang on a second. What is going on? What is going on? That doesn't make any sense. Just putting it back to what it was. That should be new. Okay, strange. Don't know why that wasn't working, but maybe it wasn't because of... no, I've not got a clue. Why isn't it? But why is this thing though? Oh, it's because I've got that up there. All right, never mind. Never mind. Maybe we're gonna have to just do this one at a time, which is fine. It's okay. It's just a bit of an annoyance, but I suppose there is a danger to making it overcomplicated and putting in different providers and stuff, data providers. Let's just copy it and do another one for 400. So this is HTTP invalid invalid exception. $400. Let's go all the way back to security. I mean, those tests will definitely need to be tidied up at some point. Here we go. Class not found. Aha. Okay. Just having a look at the invalid argument. Where does that live? Is that... Okay. Alright, let's run that. Gotcha. So it's because we're not checking it. So if we go into here, and if we had another if statement down here, and that was 400, and that was return new invalid. Okay, access. Okay, yeah, I need to adjust the message because it's checking the message as well as the exception. Okay, good. Okay, all right. I mean, I'll tidy this up. We've got like lots of things to sort of like address here, but I just want to get cracking on with the next one, which is not that. Let's get rid of some of these windows. In here, it is. The last one is create. Is it the last one? Yeah, the last one is create resource owner. All right, and it's a protected method again. So how does one do that? No, there's nothing in here to do with that. So let's have a look at provider, GitHub. How are we doing that? Create resource owner. We're instantiating a new resource owner and we're setting the name. Okay, and we're returning that back. And it's returning a resource owner interface. I see, okay. So I think what I need to do, I think, well, there's a couple of things I need to do. I think I need to, do user is equal to new user. That's annoying. And we got the array of response, and this is saying thing is I don't know what the response is yet. So if we had a look at this, for instance, which is the resource owner, we're passing in an array, which is part, this response is response, and it's getting all the bits and pieces out of this. So get key by value or value by key, which is doing. Where does that work? Unless we're extending something. No, array accessor trait, which is again from the leak. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I think I don't think I should be doing this. I'm thinking maybe we need to have our own resource owner. That has a connection somehow to the user. Yeah, I think that's probably wise. I think what we need to do then is because we will have multiple different, because if we had login by Facebook or Google or GitHub or what have you, they would be resources, and then you would have an owner of that particular resource. So we should have a new PHP file in here, which is called HTCW. Resource owner, and it is it's an entity, but it's an entity that does it get stored in a database? I guess it could do. Yeah. I think I'm gonna have to think about this, because this is this is a little bit tricky. I'm gonna have to create some form of bridge between a resource owner and the user entity somehow, and I can think in my head how I would do that from a database perspective. I would have a linker table, so you would have the users would have different resources. So you could one day log in as Google, or next day you could log in as Facebook, or next day you could just log in as yourself. So these aren't individual users. These are individual resource owners that are tied to a user. That's how I'm thinking it is. So but what changes? I mean, on GitHub, on this example, what we're doing here is we're saying that we have an ID, an email, a name, a nickname, yeah, I guess with Facebook you would have the same. You know, the email you logged in with, the name, and maybe the nickname. I mean, I tell you what, let's have a look at that whilst I'm sort of in this domain. So it's this we were looking at. I've probably got it in a million tabs up here somewhere, I'm sure. But it was there was a list, wasn't there, somewhere? Here we go. So let's say, for instance, I want to log in. We've done GitHub. Let's do, I don't know, Facebook. Again, the league. Go into SRC. Go into provider. Facebook user. Passing in the data there. Okay, so I mean, this gets the picture. The Facebook picture. That's cool. And the ID, the name, first name, last name, email. Yeah. It's just whether I want this on in my DB. I would have to so I would certainly need to log where they've come from, right? That there would definitely need to be that connection. So, yeah. I noticed that none of these that's a little bit more involved, isn't it? I noticed that there's no sort of doctrine around this. It's just what's happening is when you log in, this is getting that from the response and setting those things. Does this have like an example? Here we go. Get first name. Facebook user entity. Okay, whoa. Get resource owner token. ID. So they are using it like an entity. I suppose it is an entity, isn't it? It's just not. They haven't been opinionated as to how it's stored in the database, which is a good thing. Obviously, from my point of view, with the How to Code Well oAuth server, I'm definitely going to need that connection. So in this one, in the Facebook one, this is the GitHub one, I think. In here, which I think I've got there, yeah. In here, is there like a domain? No, I thought there was like in SRC, in provider, in Facebook user. There's picture, there's ID, there's name, there's first name, there's last name, there's email, there's hometown, there's bio, is silhouette, excuse me, is silhouette, is picture, URL, cover, gender, locale, link, time zone, all the stuff. And if we went to this and had a look at the mechanism for getting the resource owner, fields, backwards compatibility, this base graph, create client, okay, passing in the access token, get access, okay, so this is making what looks like a request. I see, this is making a request. Aha. To get all that information. Okay. Create resource owner. Oh no, hang on a minute. Am I looking at the wrong thing? I think I am. That's details URL. Yeah, I am looking at the wrong thing. Forgive me. What I need is this. So it's instantiating a new Facebook user, passing in the response. Yeah, so it's not making a request. The request has already been made. That makes sense. We're instantiating a new Facebook user. At this point, should I be doing a database query or not? No, because we get the response. You see where my head's going? It's a bit all over the place at the moment. This is creating a resource owner. So this would be doing a find by the access token, and then if we can't find it, it'll be a new resource owner. So we create the user, create the resource owner, make that connection. If we can find that user, then we connect them together. Yes, I think that's the way it should go down. Okay. Well, we're coming up to the top of the hour, so I think I'm gonna. We've only done 4 tests, but we're making progress. We are moving forward, ever so slightly. We are. I'm so glad we got this at Symfony 5, but yeah, I think that's good. I think that's a good start. Today I was supposed to be doing the code review of the tic-tac-toe game in JavaScript. That will happen on next week, next Sunday. So if you haven't taken part already, do check it out. This will be in different. This will be spanning over a couple of months. So the first month is just to build the tic-tac-toe user interface. So in this challenge, we'll be setting the game environment and the user interface. You can mix JavaScript, HTML, and CSS. Frameworks are allowed, however, bonus points if you use vanilla JavaScript, CSS, and HTML. This is the first part of this challenge and covers the display of the game board. This functionality will be covered in next month's challenge. So I'll be discussing this next Sunday. So build the game board. So a 3x3 grid, center the grid in the middle of the page, add borders except for the outside border, make it responsive to different screen sizes. Level 2, so these are different levels of difficulty. Create a HTML form that allows you to choose your player symbol, crosses or circles. Displays whose turn it is above the game board, and create a restart button below the game board. So if you imagine the game board in the middle, you'll have the two things at the top, whether you're, which player you are. Create a leaderboard above the game that displays the current score and the player's symbol. So circle has like 1, crosses has like 2. Okay, create the modals. I've got models here, that should be modals, yeah. These can be hidden for now, as well as adding the JavaScript to the game next month, as we'll be adding the JavaScript to the game next month. So you would display these modals if you win, if you lose, or if there's a draw. And then the next month's challenge will be to build the JavaScript functionality to so make the user interface look pretty. And if you want to join, I'll put this in the old chat here. If you want to join, then do submit your code to our Discord server. There's the Coding Challenges channel down in the Discord server. If you submit your code, I will then review it live on Twitch next Sunday. But I'm going to shoot off now. Grab a drink, I think. But yeah, we've made some good progress. Excellent. Well, have a great rest of your day. Thanks for watching. Happy coding, everyone. I'll see you again soon. Cheers. Bye.